Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Ann Hernandez-Gabler.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey Ann, how's it going?
It's going well, Taylor. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
We're doing good.
Mhm.
Well, let's get this show started. Tell us
Absolutely.
what do you do?
What do I do? Well, I'm a real estate professional, so that is the number one thing that I do, and I serve. And that's probably the key thing is when you're in real estate, we serve people. We're helping them through the most important financial decision that they're going to make with a lot of emotion. So we are here to serve people and help them through the process of buying and selling real estate to make it easy and not stressful.
That's awesome. So when you were younger, is this what you had planned for your future? What did you have planned? What were you doing?
Well, when I was a child, I really wanted to be an astronaut.
Hmm.
So I came up in the time of the space shuttle. So really had dreams of being in space. In fact, I love sci-fi because of that.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of sci-fi shows. So I get that vicariously now, but I realized that would require a lot of math and science. It was just a lot more than what I wanted to be able to accomplish. And then I thought I wanted to be a nurse and then realized that I was not cut out for all the blood and gore.
Yeah.
So I actually studied political science and business
Oh,
and had started my master's work in international business. And so, believe it or not, those are great training grounds for a career in real estate sales. You get to know a little bit about a lot of people, how to talk to people. Great training ground.
that's awesome. So where was the transition to real estate? Tell us about that.
So in 2001, I had my second son. I was managing a real estate, uh, not real estate, I was managing actually a retail store
Uh-huh.
for Newton Furniture in Bloomfield Hills. So loved retail, had spent, the early part of my career in retail, training salespeople, running a big store, having fun, selling furniture and window treatments and all sorts of fun things, to the retail world. But after having my second child, you work a lot of hours in retail, especially when you're a manager. You are in
Mhm.
the office, from 10 until sometimes 7, 6, 7 days a week, because that is the nature of that beast. And while I loved it, it wasn't that conducive to having a family life.
Yeah.
So one of my husband's friends had been in real estate, and I saw that he was, very successful at what he did. It was a good match to my skill set, having come from a background in sales and liking houses and meeting people, having your day different every year. So I got my real estate license in September of 2001. Actually, it was 2002. And then I joined a brokerage in Clarkston that had phenomenal training, and the rest is history.
Awesome. When you first started out in real estate, I know you said you joined a team, right? When you first started, is there any advice that you got maybe when you first started out that has stuck with you throughout the years?
Actually, I didn't join a team. I joined a big office,
Okay.
and they had some fantastic training and tools and had some good mentors. So
Gotcha.
a
Okay.
piece of advice that stuck with me, I would say that the most important thing that you need to do as a new real estate person is to continue to work on yourself and the value that you bring to your clients and your customers. So I've been doing this now for 20 years, and I would not say that I know every facet of the business. There are just so many there. There's so much to understand and know. So you always want to plug into education and keep sharpening that axe so that you get better and better for your clients and customers.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
So what are some of because I know you've done some pretty cool things over the last couple of years. What are some of the cool things you've done from like over the last 20 years?
Oh, that's a great question. So on a personal level with your clients and customers, man, this business really allows you to get to know people on a really deep level. So often your clients and your customers really impact your life and you impact theirs. I have been a part of a wedding proposal. So one of my clients,
Wow.
at the end of a home inspection, believe it or not, proposed to his fiance. So I was there with the balloons and the champagne,
Oh, that's
to
so
help them
exciting.
celebrate afterwards. So that was a lot of
That's
fun.
awesome.
Um, I have helped first-time home buyers that, in the bad market when they didn't have a lot of money and houses were just a hot mess. After working with a long time, I was invited to their wedding. I'm going to sell their home that I sold them 10 years ago. So the generational thing, being with your clients through different transitions of their life is very fulfilling as a real estate agent. You get to know people on a very personal level and get to see their family grow. Help them with the startup house, the move up house, the lake house, the condo when they want to
Yep.
retire, and see that full life cycle. And so I think that is very fulfilling. Through the course of my career, I have been on television, I've been on radio. That is a fun thing too. I think you were probably referencing, Brad. I was on House Hunters in 2015, so that was a fun little story. I share with real estate agents, make sure your profiles are up to date all over the web, because that's how it was found. A casting director was doing a Christmas story in, I lived in the village of Holly at that time, which has the longest running Charles Dickens festival. At Christmas time, they turned the village of Holly into a little Christmas village. And so they were going to be doing a Christmas themed event. And so they were looking for real estate professionals that knew that market area. And they happened to see my profile on realtor.com, believe it or not.
Huh.
And that's how they reached out to me, and that started that ball. So that was a lot of fun too.
That's awesome. Like, what things did you do while you were doing that? So,
Yeah.
like, tell us about that more. Tell more, like, how that, like, they found you. Then what'd you do?
Well, they have a process that they put you through. So, it's not a slam dunk. They have a story that they want to tell. So they go out there looking for people that might have interesting stories. So, the initial call was to me to find out, hey, do you have any clients that are looking for properties in that area? And of course I did, because that's where I lived and worked. And I happened to have a client that I had run into in the grocery store. So it was a past client. We run to the grocery store. We were just starting our shopping together. And so they had an interesting story. They were looking for either something on the water or something on acreage. And, as a real estate professional, you're kind of thinking, oh, those are whole different animals when you talk about the
Yeah.
house that they're going to end up buying. So it turned out that story was something that they were interested in. They put the agent through a little interview process so they can kind of see how you are on camera. But really, the story is about, the clients. And so they really want to know, if you have clients that are really interesting people and they have an interesting story. And so after they had interviewed my clients, and my clients agreed to be on the program, that's kind of how that started. And that's how that journey went along. So was an interesting process, but what you see on television is not what reality is.
Really?
So,
Oh, come on. Come on. I'm just kidding. It's on
they
TV. It must be real.
so they shorten that whole cycle, and you don't hear about all of the speed bumps that sometimes happen
Mm-hmm.
in a transaction. Because the reality is, in a real estate transaction, the stuff that we see on House Hunters, that's the fun part of real estate. You get to see pretty houses. You get to imagine how people live in them. You help your clients and customers put their stuff in there and walk through what their goals are in real estate. And then at the end of that, when you have a contract until you close, that's when the real magic happens and where the real value comes in as a real estate professional, because you have home inspections, you have appraisals, and not everything goes smoothly. And so that's where the real value comes in, is the experience and skill set of the person that the consumer's working with to help them through those speed bumps and make the magic happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, talking to a lot of different agents since Brad and I started this podcast, there's so many situations that you guys are thrown into that are so not only bizarre, but like one of a kind situations. You have to literally be prepared for anything. right? As an agent, you have to be prepared for anything that can be thrown your way.
Absolutely. You just never know what's going to happen
Yeah.
on any given day. But that's the fun part of this job too. I think you're not in this world unless you have the ability to be flexible
Mhm.
and to be excited about every day being a little bit different. If you really want routine and every day the same, well, it's probably not the career for you.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the routine, when you first transitioned into real estate, did you set yourself up with time blocking or how did you get through that first year?
Well, I knew that I was looking for a teacher. And that was probably the most important thing I did was my pre-licensing instructor, I had lunch with him. He had connected me to my first broker, who was actually his broker. And I knew I was looking for really great training. And I think that was probably the one thing that I did that was right. You always want to look for someone that has more experience, that's smarter
Mhm.
than you, that can put you on the path of success. And so for me, time blocking, that's a very interesting thing. So remember, when I got into this business, I had little kids.
Yeah.
So I actually did keep a schedule, and that was important. But what I would tell people right now is, if you have little kids in there, your schedule has to be your schedule, but you do need to have a schedule. So, for example, when my boys got older, I have two sons. They were swimmers, so when they were in junior high and high school, my day might look like, I'd go work out in the morning when they went to school. I would be in the office, between 10 and 2. And then I would go pick up one child at the high school, another one at the junior high. I'd come home, I'd make dinner, and then I would go back out, take them to their sporting events, and that would be my call time. So that
Okay.
was when I returned calls to my clients and customers. I did my lead generation and, basically did that. So you need to have a schedule for what you do. It's just not going to look the same for everyone in this business because
Mhm.
everyone has different needs. So I would encourage anyone that is, maybe watching this video later that, hey, you can have a family and a great career, be able to be at all of your children's events and still have a great life.
Yeah, the nice thing about being an agent too and having that availability is your flexible or your schedule, I'm sorry, can change as the years go on. So I know you said when
Yes,
you first started you had younger kids and as they grew, I'm sure your schedule changed throughout those years as well.
absolutely. And now my boys are grown up and
Mhm.
are men. And so again, my life looks a little bit different. So now my day starts a lot earlier. I have a lot more structure earlier in the day than I did later. But
Yeah.
you have to have time for the most important tasks. So at whatever stage in your career you're in or in life that you're in, you you need to block for the important things that you need to do. So would I say I did time blocking perfectly? I think that that's a journey that all of us in real estate struggle with at various times, but those that are most successful at preserving that time blocking will move forward, I think, faster.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. If there's anything you could do differently to start over, what would that one thing be?
Hmm.
With all the knowledge that you have now, is there anything that you
Yeah,
would do differently?
there's probably several things I would do differently. um, I think the first thing that I would really encourage my younger self to do when I was looking back at real estate is, to let myself relax a little bit. I have very high standards for myself, and you can run yourself ragged because
Mhm.
you have such high expectations for yourself. So you have to be okay with, having some personal and family time. And so I was very poor at protecting some of that, especially in my early days. I would just run. I had somebody that wanted to go, and I would go, and I would say, protecting your personal time is something I wish I would have done more of when I first started in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's especially hard to do when you're first starting out. Just because you
Absolutely.
want to make those clients happy, you want to continue those relationships and you don't want anybody to turn you away by you having to say, "I'm sorry, I'm I'm busy at the moment. So yeah, I understand that completely. You just want to keep going.
Well, and especially when you're new and you have to earn
Yeah.
a certain income. I
Yep.
had a fantastic career and made great money in retail before that. And so I was replacing a very significant income in benefits at that time too. So you had that pressure not only
Mm-hmm.
to have your family time stuff, but you had to bring home the bacon,
Yep.
because otherwise you're not paying bills. So and that is something I think that you learn over time in this business. And I think a lot of people, when they're newer, struggle with that. And I would just probably say, hey, relax. If you're doing the activities, the results will come.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Is there
awesome.
any good business book that you could recommend to anybody starting out?
Well, starting out or a recent book that I've read about leadership. Let's see here.
Let's go about that one.
Starting
Yeah,
Let's go
let's
out,
about
do.
that
or-
one.
Yeah.
I want that one.
Yeah, starting out.
No, just the
Leadership,
leadership
yeah.
one. That one's pretty good.
Leadership. There's a book that Simon Sinek wrote recently called Together is Better. It's a couple years old. It really is more like a young person's book. And it really has some key things about leadership. And so I actually have a quote on my wall. It says, leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. So leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. So it's not a title. It's what you do to support the people that you have around you so that they want to get on the same bus as you and go in the same direction. And it's a really quick read. I've shared it with a team I led in the past. And it was a great little book that had been given to me by a leadership team that I shared with those I was working with. And so I still like that book quite a bit. It's something a little bit different. I'm not sure that anyone on your podcast has mentioned that book yet, but it's a really nice
Yeah, I
little
haven't heard
book.
that one yet.
Yeah, that one's definitely one we haven't read yet. I haven't
Yep.
read it. I don't think we've heard it yet on here
Yeah, I
either.
don't. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to go pick that up.
Yep.
I like it. I like it.
Absolutely.
So awesome. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, people can get a hold of me by just calling me directly. So my cell phone number is 248-240-2272. And then my email is very easy. Ann sells finer homes@gmail.com. So
like it.
Ann sells finer homes@gmail.com. So that was a tip that, and again, a real estate trainer had given to me a long time ago. Tell people what you want to do. So it's really a long email, but it tells people what it is I like to do. So I like to sell pretty houses.
That's awesome. That's brilliant. I
And,
like
and
it.
as your company knows, you guys take all my photos. So
Yeah.
you get to
Oh, they're
make
nice
those
houses.
houses pretty.
Yep. That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to share with everyone before we go?
Just to kind of piggyback on that is that, I think when you are using a professional photography firm like yours, that preparation that you have with your sellers becomes so important.
Yes.
So that you set the right expectation for them. Because if you want your house to look like $1 million, and let's face it, we're in a visual world right now and selling, everybody has a part to play in that. The agent has a part to help that consumer know how to take that place that's been their home and showcase it as, something that's going to stand out in the marketplace and help them prepare, for that whole process to be able to purge their house, to put things into storage and to, just make it look really sharp. So when the photographer walks through the door, that's where the sizzle happens.
Yep, that's awesome. I like it. Well, awesome. Hey,
Absolutely.
well, hey, thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on today.
Are these working? There we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at it? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too,
Somewhere.
somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah, and it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5
5-star
stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.